What's up, guys? Eric here with driverlineup.com, world's okayest steering wheel holder, back in the studio and ready to make some content this weekend. I'll be honest with you guys, I just took a mulligan. I took almost an entire week off from making content for YouTube, which has never happened. Jenna and I are at over 300 videos in the 11 months that we've been on YouTube. So it's been a little bit new for me. But anyway, today we're going to get into a reboot of a conversation of Prime Inc.'s options and whether or not the big question, should I go company or should I go lease, whether or not you should go company or lease, and how to kind of come to that decision. This video is a little bit inspired by Travis Kenley's post-COVID video that he just uploaded. So I'm going to give you some thoughts that'll hopefully help you come to a conclusion or decision here in just one moment. Okay, so should you go company or lease? Now, for those that are new to the channel or just tuning in and don't know, I run a team truck with Jenna. She and I run a team truck for Prime Inc. We're a contracted LLC to pull freight for Prime Inc. She's a company driver for Prime. I'm a lease purchase owner-op, soon to be fleet owner. Maybe by the time some of you are watching this, we already have our second truck. It comes in September of 2021. So next month, as of the time of making this, I've been driving with Prime for almost 3 years. So I'm still pretty green in the industry, but I have some good experience with Prime, and I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Prime's model. I think it's a great starter company. It's a great company to put in a good 5 years. It's a great company to have a career with. Now, the first thing I want to tell you guys is you're going to see a lot of stuff out there on the internet and probably down in the comments below from people who just don't like mega carriers. I get it in every single video. It doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter how successful I am. Jen and I were able to put $25,000 down cash to order our 2 trucks. That includes our deposits and our extras this year. Now, if working for a mega carrier makes that possible, I'm going to say that it's probably not as bad as the internet says. And you've probably seen some other Prime drivers, our good friends Matt and Liz over at No Luck Trucking, Ross from Johnson's Logic, that have made the leap to other companies like Landstar. But one thing you'll notice is there were frustrations that they had where they just eventually reached a point where they were growing out of the mega carrier model, right? It wasn't a money issue. Go ask Matt and Liz. They made great money with Prime. It was just the way that they wanted to run their truck and the way that they wanted to run their business that helped them grow out of it. So please, when you see all these comments, oh, you can't make money, it's going to bankrupt you, don't do this, don't do that, it's hogwash. Is it risky? Yes, it can be risky. Just as anything in life can be risky, but ultimately you can make excellent money. I just told I said in the last video, the video that was published before this on this channel, that we bring home, between the two of us, $5,000 to $6,000 a week. We usually run about 21 to 25 days and then go home. So we're making well over $15,000 combined, only running 4,000 miles a week. And someone comes into my comment section and says, that's ridiculous money. We can make so much money elsewhere. If I said that we made $25,000 a month, someone's going to come into the comments and say, that's ridiculous. You need to leave. You need to go somewhere else. If I said I make $50,000 a month, someone would say, you can go haul oversize and you need to leave. Screw Prime. So my point is, you guys, and you who say this crap, you know who you are. You have no credibility in my comment thread, just so you know. But if you make those kinds of comments, I'm likely at some point going to use them to make more content, which makes me more money. So thank you for contributing to the comment threads. And for those of you who are trying to get some value out of this and trying to make a decision in your own life, just know there's a lot of that on the internet. There's a lot of people that just don't like mega carriers and don't like Prime Inc. or don't like CR England or don't like Swift or don't like Landstar. There's people that don't like companies. but I want you to hear this from my mouth. Prime Inc. Great company, obviously. Now, do I get referral money? Yes. Am I proud that I get referral money? You bet. Anyone who says that we shouldn't try to get referral money is ignorant. Why would I have a channel and Prime comes to me and says, you keep doing your channel exactly the way you do. If you see frustrations, do it. Go talk about those frustrations. If you're mad about something, go talk about how you're mad about something. No one at Prime has ever told me to do anything different with my channel. And longtime subscribers will know I've let Prime have it more than one occasion, many occasions. I've absolutely let Prime have it. But if Prime's going to say, by the way, while you're making this content that you were already going to do anyway, here's a driver referral code you can use, and you can make a little bit extra money if someone says, hey, I enjoyed your content, I'm going to use your driver code. You're an idiot if you don't think that that's a good idea. Well, maybe not idiot, but you're an idiot if you think that it's wrong for me to do it. Because let me tell you something. I like to make money, and I'm going to make money. The ads that play before this video, they make me $500 a month for doing stuff that I already like to do. So that's my disclaimer so that you know, yes, I make money off these videos. But those comments down below saying, oh, this is just a referral channel. Guys, we were making videos long before we could do, or long before we thought of doing referrals, long before we made money off of ads. We were doing videos every single day. We love doing this. We love Prime, whether there's referral money or not. We love Prime and love making money. So if you want to use that referral code, please do so. You saw it at the beginning of the video. I have a recruiter, Barbara. She's freaking awesome. She was Jenna's recruiter. That you can call or message. Her information is in the description down below, as well as my driver code and my backup, my business cell phone number. You can text me on that number if you have any questions. We communicate and talk with almost all of our referrals. So all of that out of the way, that took a long path to get to where we're at. Should you go company or lease? I don't know if you guys are going to like my answer, but I'm going to give you the right answer, what I think is the right answer. And I'm going to base some of this off of Travis Kinley's video that he just published. He said something I thought was very profound and extremely accurate. So the first thing I'm going to say, though, is that I was solo with Prime for about 6 months, so not very long, after I came out of training and upgraded. And I was going to go company all the way up until the last week of my training. I mean, fully, like that was the way we were going to go. Before I came to Prime, we had decided that's what I was going to do. The plan was to drive for Prime for a year and then go company or go do something local. But to do that year as a company driver, I was terrified. Even though I've run a business of my own, I was terrified of the idea of a $5,000 a month truck payment. Now, ironically, here we are almost 3 years later, and I'm about to take on a $10,000 a month truck payment because I'm buying 2 trucks. Next year, we'll buy a 3rd truck, and that'll be $15,000 a month. So clearly, the $5,000 a month payment hasn't scared me. In fact, I've gone the opposite direction. Anyway, in that last week of my training, I had a lot of conversations with my TNT trainer. He was Lease. My PSD trainer was company. So I kind of got to see both worlds. And, you know, it just, to get to what Travis said, he said one of the things you need to ask yourself at the time of upgrade is, do I want to run a business? Or, well, that's the question. Do I want to run a business? And you need to understand the implications of that. And I saw a comment on his video that someone left that said, if you can't manage $100, you certainly aren't going to be able to manage $1 million. And that is so true. What it really comes, don't let yourself get fixated on the money. We'll talk about that in a second. But don't let that be the determining factor in making that decision. The first question is, do you want to run a business? Do you want to be a business? Because you are going to be a business. And if on the company side, and there is nothing wrong, you guys, I hate this almost like class warfare that we sometimes see of, well, their company, leave that load for a company driver. And there are lease drivers who kind of put themselves up on a pedestal and look at themselves as higher than, somehow above company drivers in a hierarchy at Prime or any other mega carrier. I think that's total crap. We're all pulling Prime freight. My co-driver, Jenna, the wife, is a company driver for Prime. To me, we're all the same team. It doesn't matter. We're all on the same side of the court. We're all pushing the ball down to the other goal, and we're trying to keep the ball out of this goal. All of us, whether you're an owner, operator, company driver, lease driver, it does not matter. We all wear the same shirts. We all drive the same trucks with the same logos, the same authority. So first of all, let's get that right off the table. If you think that you're going to somehow be thought less of because you're a company driver, hogwash, nonsense. Look, if you go lease, there's going to be people out there on the internet that think you're an idiot because you went lease with Prime Inc. Someone's always going to have shit to say. Don't let it break your bones. It's just sticks and stones, or it's just words. It's not sticks and stones. Can break your bones, obviously, but this is just words. Don't let it break your bones. So the question is, do you want to be a business? And like Travis said in his video, the things that are important to me, which are the ability to have some control over what freight lanes I run, my home time, what my PTA is set at. If I want to take 12, 15 hours off out there on the road whenever I want, can my truck do 65 miles per hour? Can I buy fuel wherever the hell I want? Those were certainly all things that are important to me, but those are extensions of running a business. You are a business. And that's the bigger thing I think you need to come to grips with, because you do form your LLC, you should, and you are 1099, which means that as far as the IRS is concerned, if you do $250,000 a year in revenue to your truck, that's $250,000 in revenue, 1099 to you, your LLC. That's a pass through to you. So you got to have your shit together, and you got to have all your documentation, all your expenditures, all your statements, everything together to show that you spent $150,000 to make that 250, right? And 100,000 came to you. Those are things that are involved in running a business. So that's a big question. And I think a lot of drivers come out and they're, like Travis said, so hyper focused on the money. Well, I see these lease drivers getting these $3,500 checks. I see Eric and Jenna, they're making $5,000 or $6,000 a week. And company, looks like it has a cap because it only pays so much per mile, and the ceiling is set. I can't go above that ceiling. You guys know the drill. You know the stuff out there. Yes, of course the money is important. But there are more important questions you should be asking first. And that is, do you want to be a business? Are you ready to be a business? Even if you want to be a business, are you ready to be a trucking business? And if you can really think along those lines, then I've seen this happen where drivers are, ready to go lease, but it's a $5,000 a month payment. That's running a business that's doing, if you're solo, I don't know, $20,000 a month in revenue. I think we're at like $30,000 a month in revenue right now on our truck. Which of course that's going to, go up to $50,000, $60,000 a month once my second truck gets here in September. So, that's small business in America, but at the same time, that's more money than anything I've ever run has generated. We're talking $600,000, $600,000 and my business will generate next year minimum. I'm adding a third truck too. So, it's a lot of things to think about. And if you're not comfortable with that, if you have more to learn, if you want to learn the freight lanes, if you want to not have to worry about going in a hole when you're on home time, If you don't want to be that driver saying, oh my God, my second check was only $50, what am I going to do? Maybe company is the right way to go. And there is nothing wrong with that. And I'll tell you what, guys, talking about the money, you're going to make great money as a company driver too. No question about it. I know company drivers that are making $1,200, $1,300, $1,400, $1,500. I think that would be probably on the high end. You'd have to have a lot of things going for you. But these numbers are consistent. That 1,200, that 1,100, that 1,300 is very consistent. As long as you're out there running hard, those numbers are very consistent. That's consistently every week, right? Whereas in a lease situation, when I was solo, yeah, I had those 3,000, those 3,500, those $4,000 checks, but I also had the $50 check. And learning to live in that kind of volatility now I had already had some experience in that because I had some business experience in my past. So it wasn't shocking to me, but it wasn't entirely comfortable until I made it comfortable. But it took me a long time to get into a position to where it became comfortable. Now it's comfortable. I'm not making any money this week because we've been sitting at home for a week and a half, almost 2 weeks. And so I'm not making any money, but I also don't have a truck payment because we turned our truck in. But it's still, I know what I have. And yes, those of you who hate mega carriers, a little funny side note here, if you guys will allow me to pontificate for a second. So I did have an owner operator about a week and a half ago tell me that I'm wasting my time with a mega carrier. I'm wasting my time with Prime Inc. and can't make shit. There's no future. I'm an idiot for making a career at Prime Inc., which, Jen and I fully intend to finish our driving career at Prime Inc. And I asked this guy, I said, if you don't mind me asking, how much cash do you have on hand? I mean, it's like, seriously, just kind of give me a ballpark. If you don't want to tell me, that's fine. If you want to just tell me, how much cash do you have in your hand, on hand? He comes back and he says, well, about $4,000, but usually it's around $5,000 or $6,000. Guys, I work for Prime Inc. I've got like $20,000. I have more money sitting there than I think I've ever had in my life. So this whole mega carrier thing to me is insane. But my point is, and it's not to brag about that, I worked my ass off for that, you guys. And we've saved our asses off for that. We don't go out and buy a bunch of stuff. A lot of the stuff you see, this studio that I'm sitting in here, I did a video on it on the OTR crew channel, $800. That's this whole studio. That's a business expense. We don't spend a lot of money. We buy food. We go to Costco, Sam's Club. We do as much as we can to minimize our expenses. And we're even going to be working in a plan where we're compartmentalizing that so that we know exactly how much life cost every month, put that over here, then start building 2, 3, 4, 5 months of that number, and then taking this account over here and saving it for X, Y, and Z, then having this business account over here that has, X amount of dollars that have to go to pay for just the cost of running the business every month, and then a savings account over here that's got, we're really kind of drilling down and understanding our finances. And that has made it so that I can thrive in the jumping from $3,500 checks to $50 checks. Or for us as a team, jumping from a $6,000 check to, say, a $500 check, which is dramatic, but it does happen for various reasons. And if you're not prepared to operate in that world, then you're not prepared to run a business. And if you're not prepared to run a business, then you should not go lease. And that is the question of, should I go, or am I willing and ready to start and run a business, is the question you should be asking yourself. And as an extension to that, do I believe that I understand the trucking industry well enough, in addition to, am I ready to running a business? And you need to kind of use those variables to create that algorithm to help you make that determination. I can tell you that it's hard for me because, I get asked this question. It's hard for me to say that I think as a solo driver for most drivers or a lot of drivers, it makes a lot of sense to go company first, because I didn't. So I didn't live by that advice. I think the way that I prefer to say it is that you can be very successful right out of the gate as a lease operator. I see it all the time, but you can also fail epically coming out of the gate as a lease operator, and I've seen that. At the same time, on the other side, you can fail epically as a company driver too, in a lot of ways through no fault of your own. One example, I won't name the individual. This individual is on YouTube occasionally. In basically the first 6 weeks as a company driver, once upgraded, this individual had trailer after trailer after trailer be broken down and have to be taken to the shop. And when they had a trailer that was working, the truck had to be taken to the shop. So then there's no miles being paid, and it's very little breakdown pay, especially for a company driver. So it created a situation where that driver was like, I didn't make money. I didn't make anything. I operated almost as a loss as a company driver for nearly 2 months, and was ready to wave the white flag, and was messaging me going, it's not what I expected. This is not the journey that I wanted or had hoped for. So there's risk involved in any way, in any path that you take. And there's reward involved in any path that you take as well. Going company, there is risk and there is reward. Going lease, there is risk and there is reward. So it's not, you can make great money as a lease operator. You can lose your ass as a lease operator. You can make great money as a company driver, and you can lose your ass as a company driver. The money part is not what you should base that decision on, because you could be really surprised and be extremely happy, or you could be really crushed and let down and blown out of the system because it just killed you. What it really should come down to is, are you ready to run a business? Do you think you're capable of running a business? Do you think you're capable and ready to learn the trucking industry as fast as possible? When I say learn it, I mean don't upgrade, get your LLC filed, get that truck, and just go out there and just go through the motions and do what you're told. I'm talking about taking notes, writing down where the cheapest fuel is, where the mountains are, where you're getting heavy loads versus light loads, where you're getting good freight in and being able to take good freight out. I'm talking about all of it. You've got to learn and pay attention to all of it. That's learning the trucking industry. Learning your equipment, making sure that you're pre-tripping, making sure that stuff is taken care of, checking your tires constantly, making sure that there's not big screws or anything that's going to cause you a blowout. Versus a patch. You can go get a patch put on your on a super single at Prime for like $50. But if you blow that tire, it's going to cost you $1,000. You see what I'm saying? You have to be very responsible and very attentive to every little detail of running that business in order to reach the point where you are consistently successful, whether you get a $50 check or a $3,500 check. Those two scenarios don't change anything for me. If I get no check this week, but if I get if I get my truck next Monday or Tuesday, could get, $3,500 next week. Who knows? My point is, it doesn't really matter, because I'm in a position now where I can say, what did I make this quarter? You see, I got myself to the point where it was less about what I was making about each week. It became, what did I make these 4 weeks? What did I make that month? Now it's become, what did we make that quarter? That's how we're looking at it. And, what was our cost to live that quarter, that 3 months? What were we able to put into savings that 3 months? What was our profit? What was our gross? All those questions, we're now looking at it at 3 months, 6 months, a year. That's the position we've gotten ourselves into because we were incredibly attentive throughout these past 3 years. And I've made it my absolute mission to become very, very good at running a trucking business every single day. When I drive all night long, I drive exclusively at night. For 10 hours, I'm listening to podcasts and I'm thinking, what can I do better? What can I do better to run my business? What can I do better to try and be in better freight lanes, to try and run the truck more efficiently, to try and be more efficient at shippers and receivers? All these questions are rolling around all the time, 24/7, because I want to be successful at what I'm doing, because I don't want to do this for 15 years. All this to say, it is not a simple lease or company question. It's what are you prepared to understand and immediately educate yourself on and to do to run a successful business right out of the gate on day one. And there is nothing, guys, there's nothing wrong with going company don't be intimidated. Don't think, well, I'm seeing these guys walk around with the black prime bags and I've got this green prime or this purple, whatever it is. I think it's Lease gets purple and company. Anyway, they give you different colored bags for your paperwork based on who's going lease and who's going company, which is just stupid. It's because it creates this sort of classes of drivers, and it's so dumb. Don't be intimidated. Who cares what anyone else thinks about you and what you did? Who cares if you're a company driver or a lease driver and what other people think? What matters is, what do you need to achieve? And what is the best path, the safest path, the most understood path for you to get to those achievements? And if that's going and running a company truck for 6 months, like Travis did, I don't think he did it for 6 months, but he was a company driver first. JDQ Transportation was company in flatbed. He just switched to lease. We know a couple drivers that have just switched to lease that were company at first. They made great money as company, and now it was easy for them to become successful in leasing after running a truck as company for 6 months or a year or whatever. So there's not a really simple answer to that question. And if you see YouTubers out there saying, "Oh, do not go company, do not do it, go lease," you're shooting yourself in the foot. Or the other way around, screw that lease, it's just going to burn you, you're going to hate your life, go company. It's not that easy, guys. You really, really need to think about what your goals are and what the best path to those goals is for you. Whether or not you want to run a business, or do you want to be a company driver and not have to deal with all that for 6 months while you learn the lanes? If you want to have great insurance for that 6 months or a year while you learn the lanes, while you learn the business, man, just do it. Company drivers are they're dribbling the ball the same way as lease drivers, and lease drivers are dribbling the ball the same way as company drivers. We're all hauling the same shitty loads, and we're all hauling the same great loads. So we're all in the same boat together. It's just different paths, to different goals. And you really need to customize that to fit yourself. And don't make decisions based on simple answers that you see on YouTube or scare tactics out there or things that people who hate mega carriers or hate Prime say. You need to make a decision that's best for you. And outside that, Prime is a great company, you guys. Great company, great opportunity. Lots of things that you can do. I never in my wildest dreams when I was in training thought that within 3 years I would be buying multiple trucks and running a fleet. Crazy. And Prime has created that opportunity. And for that, we love being a Prime. Plus all our friends in the community and the culture, of course. But yeah, it's a great place to be. So anyway, guys, super excited to be back at it. I got a lot of content to make this weekend. I'm about to do a podcast for our podcast show. It is called Driver Hub. It's on every podcast app, Spotify, Google, Apple, all of it. If you haven't subscribed or followed that podcast, please do so. I got a couple episodes that are going to go up this weekend and next week, so watch for that. Outside of that, guys, be safe, make good decisions, and as always, drive to thrive. I will talk to you guys soon.